about the ways of summer, huh? Simba. Okay, so this morning I had a pretty awesome experience. Okay, so this morning I was talking to Joel, my reptile buddy, my ReptileAlien buddy, who I think is my grandfather. I don't know how I figured that out. I just figured it out a long time ago. Okay, so this morning I was talking to Joel around 3:30 a.m. again for an experience. I always talk to him, you know, whenever I get up around 3 a.m. or whatever, or 4 a.m. or 2 a.m. This is how it started. Bam! All of a sudden, I was booted out of body, so to speak, even though I wasn't. This was a virtual reality experience, and I have all of my definitions of my experiences, like virtual reality experiences, and out-of-body experiences, and OBE VRs, and OBE VR lucid dreams, and remote views, and traveling remote views, and dreams. I never get dreams though. Like, they're the worst of the worst anyway. You don't want to have a dream. You want to have all these other experiences. But anyway, this was more like a virtual reality experience as opposed to a lucid dream. But it was still slightly in like it didn't exactly feel like 3D virtual reality, but like almost, so to speak. It was less lucid dreamy than some of the other experiences I had been getting. But anyway, so this was a virtual reality experience where, bam, I was just plopped into the scenario, or basically the scenario was just bam right there at me. So where bam, I was just plopped into the scenario, and this is how it started. I was standing there in front of a dark red brick older apartment building. It was at least 2 stories. I don't remember it being any bigger than like a 2-story building. And the funny thing is, I was just standing there looking at it, and I'm like, okay, I've been here many times before. But then, of course, Joel has done that a lot, where sometimes I really have been there in millions of other experiences, or in real life or whatever. But after I woke up and everything, you know, I was like, I really had never been there before. You know, he's never taken me to some brick red apartment building. And I just punched it in on the internet, brick red apartment buildings, and this is almost pretty much exact what it looked like, except it was a lot longer and everything. It was a lot longer than this. But that's almost what it looked like. And I'm sure he was copying off something in my brain. But okay, hopefully that'll stay. Okay, so I gotta hurry up. Okay, and like I said, the apartment building was 2 stories. I was standing there in front of the building in the courtyard where I was standing. Where I was standing, I was outside, but I was surrounded by a complete courtyard, if you know what I mean. I was in a courtyard, basically. And then the brick red building was in front of me. I could have been in the back of the building, not sure, but the building was just like bam, right in front of my face. And I was like standing like 8 yards away. Like, I don't know if that was really like the back of the building or the front of the building, so to speak. I mean, it could have been either or, if you know what I mean. I told myself, great, I know I'm out of body, and I'm going to start counting the cars and honing in on the cars and colors so I don't forget what I saw when I woke up. Okay, so when he plopped me in this experience, I immediately knew I was out of body and everything. And most of the experiences, I do know that. The reason I think why I knew immediately that I was out of body was because I had just got done talking to him, at 3 a.m. or whatever, and then I finally fell asleep, and then boom, it's just, I knew I was in an out-of-body experience, so to speak. Like, whereas sometimes I'm in OBE VR lucid dreams, and I just, like I vaguely kind of know I'm out of body, you know what I mean, in a different dimension or whatever. But this one, it was just like, that was just like my first thought, I knew I was in an altered state or whatever. The thought was just like, just like bigger than all the other experiences where I know I'm kind of in an altered state, but I don't really think about it much, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I told myself, great, I know I'm out of body, and I'm going to start like I knew I was in a virtual reality experience, basically. I told myself, great, I know I'm out of body, and I'm going to start counting the cars and honing in on the cars and colors so I don't forget what I saw when I wake up. Okay, so I saw one small white car, one small black car, and one bright blue car that was halfway hidden by the metal black dumpster that was to the left of me and ahead of me. The cars were to the left of me too, except the Subaru. The front end was hidden behind the dumpster. The model of the car was very vivid, as the whole experience was very vivid. This one was, that's what I'm saying, this one was a little more virtual reality. All of my experiences are vivid, but this one was a little more vivid, if you know what I mean, or a lot more vivid. The front end was hidden behind the dumpster, the bright blue Subaru. The model of the car was vivid, as the whole experience. The other two cars were the size of an older 1995 Toyota Starlet. The other two cars, if you know what that looks like, that's basically what the other two cars look like, the white one and the black one. After I looked at all the cars, like I said, I turned my head over to the left and I started looking at the whole courtyard, and that's when I started counting the cars and stuff and looking at the cars and honing in, because I didn't want to forget anything, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to forget any details of the experience. After I looked at all the cars and memorized them, by the way, I know Joel was copying off of a small white car my sister used to have, like when I was younger. And it was similar shape as the 1995 Toyota Starlet. And it took me a while to try to find a car that looked like the ones in my experience. But I finally found one that somewhat looked like the two cars in my experience. Why he put the Subaru, I have no idea. That car was so vivid. Like, I knew immediately, like, that's like a Subaru. And like, why he picked Subaru, I have no idea, because I've never wanted a Subaru. I've never, well, actually, it could be because there's this woman I knew in Kansas City, and she did have a Subaru. I can't remember what color it was. Matter of fact, I think it was blackish. But so that could be why, he took that detail from my brain, from, almost 20 years ago. But the Subaru, it was a slightly newer model. It probably wasn't like a 2022, but like maybe 2015, 2014. It was not an old model. It looked about like, okay, let me find it again. Like this one. Like that one right there, except of course it was angled that way. It was angled the other way to the right. And then the black dumpster was covering about a third of the front of the Subaru. And the color was more bright looking. Like, that's a darker blue. It was more bright looking, like this, like more bright blue. Yeah, that was like just, I couldn't believe I couldn't believe that the model and everything was so clear, you know what I mean? But the white and the black one, in the experience, I knew exactly, I mean, I knew it was totally familiar, both of those cars, but I couldn't think of what the models and stuff was when I was in the scenario. But I knew they were like so familiar to me. And my brother also had a little small red car. And I'm trying to remember exactly how it was shaped. And I can't remember the model of it. But anyway, so, okay, so after I memorized the cars and everything, okay, so after that, I walked into the brick building in a strange woman's apartment. She looked like my aunt, sort of, like she was Italian or something, with bushy, dark hair. I'm not sure what my aunt was, by the way. I think we have like French in us. She was French, and that's why I have, she had bushy black hair, or dark blackish hair, you know, when she was younger or whatever. And I have hairs in my head too, like I can pull them out and they're totally black and nappy and coarse. So we have like French in us. But anyway, I'm not sure what my aunt was, but by the way, but I know we have French. I knew we had a lot of French in us or whatever. And I know we have Scottish and I think German. But anyway, so she was not my aunt, but in experience I knew and had thought of, wait, hold on. She was not my aunt, and she was not my aunt, but in experience I knew and had thought of that Joel was trying to copy off my aunt. Like I knew that in experience. I was like, okay, I know she's not my aunt. She's a strange woman, but she kind of looks like my aunt. And I knew Joel was, because when I'm in the experience, I'm always conscious, or at least 99% of the time I'm conscious that when I'm in the experience, I'm conscious that he's giving me the experience. I'm conscious of that. And anyway, and so I knew as I was walking around, I knew that Joel was trying to kind of copy off my Aunt Susan. Anyway, but she had a grungy, dirty t-shirt on. And my aunt, you know, she was part of Mensa. She was very smart, but she didn't know how to manage money, and she wasn't rich or anything. And she wasn't a dirty person or anything, but she was actually clean, but she was kind of a hoarder and kind of cluttery. In this scenario, this woman was a little dirtier, and her apartment was a little dirtier. But anyway, so this odd woman, this strange woman, had a grungy, dirty t-shirt on. It was white, but very dirty looking. It was so dirty looking, it was kind of brownish looking. The whole, and not only that, but it was a very old t-shirt. The whole apartment complex, I think, was sort of for poor people. That is what I thought of in experience, that it just wasn't a real nice complex. And it was an older complex, with all that brick red and everything. So as I was walking around her apartment, I asked myself, okay, what is the plot? What am I doing here? I couldn't understand, okay, why am I here? I wonder if Joel threw this part in later. But anyway, this part I'm about to talk about. But anyway, we started talking, and she was to give me... Okay, but anyway, we started talking, me and the strange woman, and she was to give me about $200 for Super Bowl tickets. That is when I knew, okay, now I know why I'm here now. Okay, I'm to collect the money from the tickets that I sold, and to collect the $200 from her. And, I previously had, Super Bowl on the brain and stuff. I don't know if Joel was shocked or something that I knew that something was off when I was in the strange woman's apartment, and he had to think of something up quickly or what. And maybe he programmed the Super Bowl part on a whim for me, because as I was walking around, I couldn't understand what was the plot or what was the goal of me being there. And then all of a sudden he probably was like, oh, I better program something else for her since she's asking questions. So he's like, oh, Super Bowl tickets, But anyway, but I just knew something was off, so I don't know, that's just weird. And so anyway, I think he had to think something up quickly and on a whim, and so he programmed the Super Bowl part on a whim for me. But I somehow knew it wasn't right for me to be in a strange woman's apartment with no reason. She was the height of my Aunt Susan, 5'6", 5'7", and she also, this woman was probably about 67, somewhere around there. Her apartment was sort of cluttery and old looking. Eventually, I walked into a bedroom of hers, and I laid down on the bed. I was just trying to be like, oh, okay, I'm just walking around carefree or whatever. I was just trying to observe or whatever. And, yeah, I just lay like on my back, just flat on my back. And she wasn't even in the bedroom. She was just walking around in the living room part. And, oh, and then, yeah, and there was some other, Joel normally always, like, 9 times out of 10, he puts sexual stuff in my scenario. And there was some sexual stuff in the scenario, too. But, a lot of times I edit that shit out. So, edit. So, after I went into the bedroom, I left to go out into the hallway where, anyway, by the way, I think I said that later in the, I think I typed it up later, but her apartment was kind of cluttered. Did I already say that? It was kind of cluttery and everything. I mean, it wasn't just super disgusting, but it was just old and it was, kind of cluttery. Okay, so anyway, so after I went into the bedroom, I left to go out into the hallway where there was a maintenance man office to the left of me. And I saw a couple boxes laying there, and I was telling myself, those 2 boxes had been there before. I mean, had been there forever. Because, like I say, I already knew that I had been to that complex many, many times before. So I saw those 2 boxes, and I knew they had been there like forever. And I know there was some specific stuff in there. Ah, my knee's hurting. There's some specific stuff in there. And, but I know that it was like tools and stuff that was in there. And too, by the way, this courtyard, I mean, this, like when I say I'm going out into the, the hallway, it wasn't really like a hallway. It was just almost like I was going back out, like into the courtyard area where it was still sort of like outside, but it still seemed like it was kind of like outside, but there was still walls like to the left and to the right. And, but where the boxes were, there was another, sidewalk or whatever that led, like along that area too, or a little path or whatever. But anyway, after I saw those 2 boxes, I was just like, wow, like every time I come here, those 2 boxes are still there, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, and wow, those boxes were there the last time I came here. That's what I was thinking. It was like I had been there before, and at the beginning of the scenario, I forgot to mention the building looked familiar, and I knew I had been there many times before, which I already told you that. But when I woke back up, I knew I had not. That building was not familiar to me in 3D. But in the scenario, of course, Joel made me think that I had been there many times before, in the scenario. I mean, under other scenarios or whatever. Or in real life or whatever. But he does take me back to the same places over and over again, lots of times, like to the mansion and blah, 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 blah. But this place, I've never had a scenario like this before with that brick red building. And with that woman or whatever. To me in 3D. Okay. As I walked down the courtyard path, or hallway, so to speak, boom, I looked down and I saw all my old jewelry and some current jewelry that I had owned and lost. Most of all the jewelry, like when I reached down to pick up all my jewelry, it was my silver bracelets. Like every single one of them was silver bracelets. Because I've, owned a bunch of silver bracelets, like from Mexico, and my grandma bought me many silver bracelets, and they all were pretty much silver. I started picking this one up, that one up, this one up, that one up. All this was very, very vivid, and I couldn't believe I saw and picked up my square link silver bracelet that I had lost 30 years ago on Sunshine Street, pretty close to Bass Pro. There it was in the scenario. My grandma had bought me that one in Mexico, the one that I was so excited when I picked it up. I was just like, I couldn't believe it because I knew I hadn't seen that bracelet in 30 years. It was just amazing that Joel put that detail in my scenario. And but yeah, I picked up at least, I don't know, like 4 to 6 silver bracelets, and some of them I currently own and some of them, you know, I had lost. Then I met up with my sister outside the hallway into the courtyard where we decided to take the bus home. By the way, the Subaru car was, oh, I already said that, somewhat, you know, was a newer model car. Okay, now here's what the bracelet that I lost a long time ago. Here's, crap, let me see. Here's what it looked like pretty much, except it was squares. It was squares and like that. It was like this, except instead of being like a bike chain, it was just squares, 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 squares. Just square, 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 you know, links, squares, nothing but squares. And it was real silver. And I had lost it because, you know, when I closed my heavy door of the old car I had, it fell off in the parking lot. And as far as I remember, I did try to backtrack and I couldn't find it. I think somebody already found it and kept it. But yeah, because I had that heavy car, Oldsmobile or Nova or something like that, and it fell off as I closed the door. I know that's what happened. Okay, so, okay. By the way, the Subaru car was a somewhat newer model car. The next part was very freaky, where we were in a big tour bus type of thing, because I told you we were going to take the bus back home or whatever. Okay, but anyway, yeah, so anyway, my sister, oh, did I tell you? Yeah, my sister didn't pop into the scenario till, you know, when I told you I went back into the hallway, into the courtyard. But anyway, the next part was very freaky. We were in a big tour bus type of thing. I don't remember anybody being there but me and my sister in the tour bus. The whole bus toppled completely on its ass while, you know, me and my sister were in the bus, where the whole bus was straight up in the air. Now, this was the freakiest thing ever. Me and my sister started falling back down to the back of the bus, where the back door is, you know, the back, what do you call it, emergency door or whatever, or handicap door is, and everything started to get really dark and fuzzy, and I felt scared, like I was suffocating, and I felt very, very claustrophobic. It was just like the whole bus was just like closing in on us, like it toppled on its back. I mean, we toppled on our back, the whole bus, I mean, straight up, where the front of the bus is straight up, you know, where the sun is, and it's like the whole bus was just kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking or something. But I felt like I was suffocating and claustrophobic, like we were, you know, being suffocated. I couldn't imagine what was happening, but I told myself we will get out of here safely. I know Joel made that part up because I just saw some avalanche videos previously, before this experience. That's where he got the idea, because that day, this was this morning, I had this experience. So yesterday in the afternoon, I started watching avalanche stuff, like snowboarding and then I somehow came across avalanches. And I know that's where he got the idea. Yeah, they have a sense of humor. But yeah, and I remember telling my sister too, like, because I know my sister was scared too, and I was like, I mean, I knew we would get out of it. Like, I mean, I wasn't totally scared because I knew we would get out of it. You know what I mean? Like, we would be back to normal soon. But that was the most freakiest thing ever. And basically, me and my sister were, like, laying all back, too. You know, because we were falling back and we were, like, looking straight up. And it's like the whole bus was just coming down at us. Just, yeah, almost like, oh, maybe he was trying to copy off the World Trade Center. Oh, that's possible. Because I did just watch that movie less than a year ago. I don't know, maybe 6 months ago I watched that movie. Oh, maybe he got that idea from the World Trade Center movie. But anyway, ow. Okay, so After that, after the bus incident, after we almost died in the bus incident, we ended up at the grocery store like consumers, where we used to go when I was little over there on Battlefield Street. It seemed like a consumer's grocery store. We went over there by the water fountain to the left of the store, and I saw that I had given some of my baby turtles to the store. I saw Fudgy, Fudgy, Bella, and Brownie, all small young turtles. Fudgy looked a bit dehydrated, and I actually put him or her in my mouth. I was like, wow, why did I do that? I could get bacteria in me. It was like the turtles were up high in a container near the water fountain, but I don't actually remember seeing like a plastic container bin, but it's like they were in some container near the water fountain. And this isn't the first time Joe he's made me put turtles and toads in my mouth before. I don't know why he does that. Oh, probably because he thinks they got a funny sense of humor, these aliens. They think, yeah, because I'm trying to not, make them dehydrate by putting them in my mouth or something. But yeah, that part was weird about my 3 turtles. And some of them died and they didn't get big enough. Bella, I know, was a female. I'm not sure about Fudgy and some of the other ones. But anyway, like I said, I don't remember seeing the plastic container bin, but it's like they were just right there at the height of the water fountain. Then I decided, like, wow, I want all my turtles back. My sister asked if she could have one, but I just wanted to take them all back myself. And I told her that wasn't a good idea to take any. I told her I wanted them all back. The last part of the scenario was weird. Joel showed me a big cat barf pile on my carpet floor. Like that was the last part of the scenario. I saw this big vivid pile of cat barf on my carpet and my floor over there by my work bag. I knew, like, great, this is the end of the experience. I somehow knew this was that marked the end of the experience. Like, this is the marker that says this is the end of the experience. And I knew I had remembered everything of the scenario up to then, because I was trying to make sure I remembered everything. Yeah, when he plops me in a virtual reality experience, and like I say, they're a little bit different than the OBE VR lucid dreams. That's when a lot of times I do that. I'm like, okay, I totally at the forefront. I know I'm out of body, and it's like I'm gonna start really honing in and memorizing everything, like every tiny little detail, because I don't want to forget anything. And but I did see a lot of stuff in that woman's apartment, like knickknacks, stuff like that. The bed, of course, I saw the bed, and I don't remember a lot of the tiny little details, but yeah, there was a bed in there, and there was a bunch of other stuff besides the bed, but I'm sure the aliens can do whatever they want. If they don't want you, if they're not going to, if they don't want you, I mean, they program it like that for you to vividly see some things and not vividly see other things. If you're not going to vividly see other things that they don't want you to, you're not exactly going to remember those things when you wake up. So anyway, I knew I had remembered everything in the scenario up to then. When I woke up in real life, there were 2 cat barf piles on the carpet near my work bag, and I knew somehow Joel knew that was recent barf piles, and he just wanted to tell me, like, hey, your cat's barfed again. The thing is, the barf pile that he showed me was not the exact barf piles, but I still think he knew there was fresh barf cat piles on my carpet this morning. Like when he showed me the barf pile, there was just one of them that he showed me, kind of a big barf pile. When I woke up, and it kind of had a different color to it. When I woke up and I went over there by the work bag, it was 2 barf piles, like 12 inches apart, and they were kind of like dark brown. I already cleaned it up, but I swear, I think he was trying to tell me that, like in the scenario, like, oh, your cat's just barfed, you know what I mean? And I had just got my cleaner out, even a day like today and yesterday, because I had to clean that other bedroom too. because I have this new cat, and I've been giving her grain-free food, but all of a sudden her poo-poo kind of became softer, and she got a little bit outside the damn litter pan. I'll just change her food if it doesn't get back to normal, but I don't understand, because I've been feeding her nothing but 2 different types of grain-free food, and then all of a sudden... But she is kind of, like, I don't know, I haven't had this cat very long. She's kind of a nervous cat, so it could just be nerves, but I haven't been making her nervous or anything, and no other cat's been making her nervous. But I think she ate something, like, I don't know, something off of something, and that could have done it. Upset her system or something, like, because I saw some slivers of, like, little pieces of wood or something, and it looked like it was colors, you know, so there could have been, you know, some chemicals in those colors. I don't know where the hell she got it from. I mean, I'll go in there, and she, like, knocked this over or knocked that over, and so I don't know what the hell she does in there, but I go in there a million times to check on her and everything. She's kind of a feral cat, but, you know, eventually I'll make her tame. But yeah, so anyway, so that's my cool experience with the Subaru and the black car and the white car. And man, this was almost exact right here. I mean, that was almost exact what it looked like, except it was more of a 2-story. I mean, shit, I don't know. I mean, it could have been 3 stories, but I think it was more of a 2-story. And of course, it was a lot, you know, longer. It wasn't that small. It was very, very long apartment building. Thanks for listening.